First of all, let's look at what the birthright citizenship is about. We all know that the 14th Amendment in the Constitution guarantees birthright citizenship to anyone that's born within the United States, regardless of whether their parents are citizen or if they have any immigration status. As long as you're born on the soil of the United States, you're considered an American citizen. So the 14th Amendment gives us that right. Now, go ahead.
Go ahead. Continue.
So our president would like to, he has sought to limit the birthright citizenship. And today, with the conservative justices, with the court, a 6-3 ruling has given him the go-ahead to do that. And so for the states that have not challenged the laws, they can go ahead and implement this rule.
Let me ask a question before you continue. When you say the states that have not challenged the law, they can go ahead and implement that rule. Before you continue with your next statement, can you give a little bit more insight on that part, just to clarify?
Okay. Well, the thing is that there were states, especially the Democratic states, when President Trump had first introduced this rule, they challenged it and said, no, according to the 14th Amendment, that's going against the Constitution. So because they have challenged it, it doesn't automatically go into law in their states. So there, as we know, there's like 28 states that have not challenged the law. So those states can go ahead and implement the law according to what he suggests.
So just so I'm clear, the states that have not challenged him on it, they in a sense have the go ahead, the runway to take off and implement his plan.
Okay. His order.
It
wasn't an executive order that he signed back in January. So the order was to end the practice of automatically granting citizenship to anyone born in the United States, even if the parents. So the plan is to get rid of that unless one of the parents is a citizen or a green card holder or a permanent resident. So if you come here and you're just a visitor, basically you can't just come here and have a child and the child would become an automatic citizen. That's what his bill is about, his executive order is about. He's trying to get rid of that. People would just come here, have their children and leave, and their child is automatically a citizen. So that's what his executive order is about, to ban that.
And that has been going on for decades now.
Yeah, it's the 14th Amendment. I think from the 1800s, this has been a law under the Constitution.
Let me look up when was the 14th Amendment passed. So the 14th Amendment was passed June 13th, 1866. Okay, and it was then ratified on July 9th, 1868. So is the ratification was when they were given the birthright citizenship? I was having a conversation and I actually looked at a document online earlier on today, and it was saying that birthright citizenship were given to the ex-slaves, and that's how birthright citizenship was meant, and who the people that it was meant to be for, and give the ability to have citizenship, because slaves weren't able to be granted citizenship before the 14th Amendment. So with that being understood, are we saying that people would leave wherever they're from, come to the United States, have their child, and once the child gets citizenship, then they would then leave and take the child and raise the child with wherever country they're from, and then when the child gets of age, the child would then be a citizen and file for them, the parents or relatives, to come in back in the United States?
That could be possible. It doesn't mean that people did it for that purpose. But to know that, this is a country that has a lot of sway in the world, a lot of people would like the benefit of knowing that they have some ties to the country, and coming here and having their children ensures that the child become a citizen. And with the child being a citizen, they get certain benefits that comes with that, but it doesn't mean that people just do that just because of that reason. People do things for varying reasons, but
Right.
maybe the thought is that this is why people are doing it. This is why people are coming here and having children, because then they can just have that child. I don't know, I would have to ask a person that come here and have a child, and the child is a citizen, what was their thought? What was their thought process?
So, with that being said, actually, I pulled up more information about the 14th Amendment. So I'm going to read it, and then I'll ask the question I'm going to ask regarding one parent being a citizen. So, the 14th Amendment states that passed by the Senate on June 8, 1866, and ratified 2 years later on July 9, 1868. The 14th Amendment granted citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States, including former enslaved people, or provided citizenship with equal protection under the law. So it wasn't just for former slave, it was anyone, like maybe indentured servants from Europe or other countries that weren't slaves, but they were here in the United States. They were granted citizenship under the 14th Amendment, regardless slave or not.
Yes, but don't forget that there are exceptions to those rules. Limited exception would have been children born to foreign diplomats. And
Explain that.
Like if you come here on business, a foreign diplomat come here, say the president of another country come here, or someone within their government come here. You know how other people from other countries come here and they meet with the president and so on and so forth.
Yes.
So they would be the exceptions to the rule.
So currently, where with the decision, the diplomats would have an exception to that rule. They would automatically still become citizenship.
No, their children wouldn't be citizens.
Oh, okay. Because they're diplomats, so the children wouldn't be citizenship. Wouldn't have gained citizenship
of the countries that they're from.
Okay. I understand. I understand why. Because the diplomats are sovereign, and all the laws of the country that they're from, no matter where they go in the world, the laws from the country where they are from applies to them anywhere they go in the world. So that would in also reflect on the children that they have, that if they have the children, those laws from their country would also apply to that child.
Yeah.
Okay. So going back to the question I want to ask now, in our earlier discussion, when one parent is a naturalized citizen or a citizen of the United States and they have a child with a non-citizen, that child is automatically a citizen.
Yes, that's what the bill is suggesting, that the child would be a citizen only if at least one of the parents is a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident green card holder.
Now, when that, let's say that parent goes, the parents that's not a citizen goes back to their country of origin, and that child grows up and then want to file for the parent, the possibility of that parent being able to come to the United States as a citizen is then now granted.
Are you talking about the executive order that President Trump has put forward, or are you talking about prior to that?
I'm trying to correlate both, because prior to, I understand, because I know people that the child is a citizen and was able to file for their parents and bring their parents to the United States.
Yes, as long as the child is a U.S. citizen, well, when they become adults, of course, they can file for their non-citizen parent. That's true.
Okay, so with the new executive order, that would still be in place, essentially, because that would just make logical sense to me. If the parents goes back to where they're from and they didn't get in any trouble or did anything wrong in the United States, where the United States said, no, you can't come back, the child will be able to file for them.
Yes, I'm assuming that would be the case, unless they make further revision to the laws to prevent that. But as of today, yeah, that's still the case.
Okay, knowing this and understanding this, like I know someone, actually I know a couple of people that they got married. They went to the islands, got married to the person that they were in a relationship, long distance relationship with, and then came back to the United States and immediately filed for that person. And it took like maybe about 18 months for them to be able to get approved and come to the United States.
Okay.
So if the parent did not, like let's say they coupled, or they just had a fling, and the woman gets pregnant and have the child here, and the father is the one that is a citizen, and then the mother goes back, can the father file for the mother, or the child has to wait, or the mother has to wait until the child grows up to file for her?
Well, wait a minute. If they are not married, the father would not be able to file for the mother.
Yeah, I understand. That's why I asked the question. If the father decide to marry the mother, can
yes, as long as the father is a citizen, he can file for his wife to become a permanent resident.
But does she have to go back to her place of origin before or during the filing process, or she'll be able to stay in the state?
It depends. If she's here and she has an active visa, her visa is not expired or isn't up or anything, they can do a change of status and stay and file for her residency here in the country. That is an option on the application.
How does the change of status work in terms of that parent that's is here on a visa?
Once as long as they have their marriage is legitimate, and they, as you said, one of the provision is they can prove their relationship. That person, their visa is active when they come here. The American citizen father can go ahead and file the I-130 as well as change of status.
Okay.
They file those papers together or separate, but the I-130 has to be filed, and you say it on that paper that the person is going to be doing their application here in the States. Then they will send that paper in along with a change of status. Immigration offices will look at all the paperwork that was sent in to determine whether they qualify. They will be called for an interview, and once they go through the interview process and they have proved their case, then that person would be granted residency.
Okay.